What is up, fan addicts, fan guy addicts? It's your boy, Josh Fanguy, coming to you with another edition of our Fantasy Outlook Week 6. We're going to go ahead and make a lineup while I kind of, go through some reasonings as to why certain players are good players to maybe try to play this week and others are not. We've been pretty spot on so far this year. If you've been following our advice, you definitely have a lot of the guys who've been breaking the slates. We called the Gabe Davis come out week last week. We had him all over the place. We called Jamal Williams and Hawkinson the week before and Penny the week before. So we're on some weeks. I'm not crazy about a lot of things this week. I don't have as strong opinions this week as I normally have, but let's just jump right into it and see what we get. We're going to start at quarterback. So we're looking at Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray round out the big four this week, with Kyler falling a little cheaper than the rest. So look, the Bills and KC game, last time these two teams played, it was a huge scoring affair. I don't see a reason it shouldn't be again. They are two of the more high-powered offenses in the league, and these quarterbacks are priced to show it. Obviously, Lamar Jackson could have a field day against the Giants. So, I believe that these are going to be the three highest scoring quarterbacks of the week, and they are priced to reflect that. Kyler Murray, I think, is another really good start, especially because the Terminator, Mr. Connor, is out this week. So Arizona might be throwing the ball a little more than usual. Seattle, everybody could throw in Seattle, like everybody. So I do actually think the Arizona-Seattle game has high scoring potential. If you were trying to save a little on the quarterbacks side of things, you could definitely play Kyler Murray for 7,300. I think it's a really good play this week. Joey B against New Orleans in New Orleans. I'm not crazy about this price on him. I don't really understand why they'd price him at 6,700 in New Orleans. I'm just not seeing it. I think Jamar Chase could have a good week this week, but I don't necessarily think Joe Burrow on paper should be putting up as many points as the guys above him, or maybe even Tom Brady below him. So, no, I'm going to be fading Burrow this week. Tom Brady, I like Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's going to be due for one of his Tom Brady-esque weeks. This could be the week. I thought it was going to be the week last week. We were wrong about that. Though I don't think he had the worst week. It certainly wasn't enough to write home about it, 22. But he's got a great matchup against Pittsburgh. He's got some healthy receivers for the most part now. I like Tom Brady's chances to have a big week in Pittsburgh. I think Tom Brady, I would be playing Brady instead of Burrow for sure this week. Stafford and Rodgers. Until I see Rodgers do it this season, I'm just not going to bet on it. This is a game where he could easily happen, though. This is a game where Aaron Rodgers could have one of his, vintage Aaron Rodgers days. Certainly a good setup in Green Bay against the Jets. I'm not betting on it. Same with Stafford. Pretty good matchup at home against Carolina. These guys have just been so bad this year that you just want to see it till you believe it. It's really tough to chase that one. Cousins against Miami, again, same price as these guys. He's in that range. I think Minnesota actually beats the crap out of Miami this week with Miami's third-string quarterback playing. So this feels more like another maybe Dalvin Cook-esque day, but Kirk Cousins could have actually a pretty good game here. I definitely wouldn't sleep on him. Geno Smith, again, man, he's actually had some respectable games this year. So I wouldn't sleep on Geno Smith, especially now that Rashad Penny's out and they're down to Kenneth Walker. And Arizona's going to be throwing the ball. Seattle might be a little more pass happy this week. I could see playing Geno Smith. I think that's insane to say, but I don't hate it. Trevor Lawrence in Indy. No, I'm not playing Trevor Lawrence this week. Christian Kirk might be a sneaky play, but I'm just not crazy about it. I think this could be a pretty low scoring game. Garoppolo, you ain't never going to see me play Jimmy G all year. I'm just going to go ahead and say it at the current situation. Unless he decides he wants to just go Super Saiyan on us and like get good all of a sudden and get fantasy relevant, I won't be playing Jimmy Garoppolo this season. Bridgewater's probably not even starting. Brissett against New England, that's going to be a pass for me. Mariota against San Francisco, that's going to be a pass for me. If you want to take a flyer on Zach Wilson at a super cheap rate, I feel like you can do that. I don't like the matchup, particularly in Lambeau. Green Bay's defense is actually pretty good too, but I do feel like the Jets will be throwing a bunch in this one. So I think Zach Wilson's going to get the volume to have a good day. Matt Ryan, no. Mac Jones, probably not playing. Dalton, when you see Taysom Hill down here and he's put up like 1 billion points last week as a, yeah, it's so weird that on this site you have to start Taysom as a quarterback, but on FanDuel he's a tight end. So I'm not starting either Saints quarterback this week. Their offense is just so unpredictable right now. The only player I want anything to do with is maybe Kamara and Olave. Daniel Jones. Okay, look, man, Daniel Jones is a not a bad play at 5,200. I could see him having to throw the ball a ton, even if it's just a Saquon a bunch. So I think if you want to try a sneaky play on some like big lineup events, maybe roll the dice on Danny Dimes. He could have a good week. I'm not playing anyone else, but most of my lineups, quarterback wise, are going to be between these top 4 guys. Tom Brady. I'll probably have a few Brady lineups. Probably have a few Geno Smith lineups. Probably have a few Zach Wilson lineups. Probably have a few Daniel Jones lineups. That's kind of where my head's at with quarterback this week. Now we are on to running back. So again, McCaffrey just hasn't warranted this. Hasn't been able to justify this price tag for me all year. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been able to be like a true slate breaker any week. He's just been pretty consistently okay and like pretty consistently good. But for that price tag, I'm going to pass. Same with Chubb. I feel like Belichick's really good at keying in on your strength. I think he's going to isolate Chubb this week, and I think maybe this could be like an Njoku or Amari Cooper based offense from Cleveland this week. Jonathan Taylor still questionable. Hines is also questionable. He got a limited practice in yesterday. Today he practiced limited again. Either way, I do like his upside here in this game if he goes, if he's fully healthy, but we just don't know if he is. This is still a ton to pay, but I do think this could be Jonathan Taylor's breakout game. Saquon Barkley, look, the Giants offense runs through him. So at home, they're going to utilize him. So I actually would play Barkley over any of these guys priced higher than him. Aaron Jones, you just never know. This kind of week where the Packers could beat the crap out of the Jets, you don't know if it's going to be Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon, who has quietly only had one good week. And he was being involved in the passing game, which I was surprised. But, man, he really has fallen off. So that's why they're priced so differently. So yeah, I mean, this could be the week where the Packers are winning so much they want to get A.J. Dillon reps in. So I'm staying away from the Packers backfield this week, though I do have a feeling that one of them, I'll probably have Aaron Jones on a few lineups, and I'll probably throw one A.J. Dillon lineup in just as like a contingency. But there's a lot of potential for a running back to have a good game here for Green Bay. Dalvin Cook, I think he's in a great setup against Miami in a game where Miami's offense is going to be pretty anemic. I think this could be a very good day for Dalvin Cook. Fournette, again, great matchup. A good opportunity for the most part against a really bad Pittsburgh team. We do know that if they pull a lead, they will lean on him. He's actually he got 11 targets last week. I think for me, I hate being that guy, but I feel like he had such a big week last week that it won't repeat this soon. So I'm going to pass on Fournette this week, though the matchup is there. Mixon against New Orleans. I think this is going to be more of a Burrow and Jamar Chase like homecoming. Being from LSU boys. So I'm not necessarily expecting a huge game from Mixon this week, though I do think that's going to be a lower scoring game. And but the Saints defense has definitely looked fairly vulnerable, but they're pretty stout against the run. So I'm not really messing with Mixon at this price tag either. Kamara, I think like his usage last week was so encouraging to me with 23 rushing attempts. That's huge. That shows the kind of offense that they're running right now while Winston's out. So yeah, I could see playing Kamara at home against Cincy. I think there's a lot of upside there. I think the offense is going to run through Kamara for as long as he's healthy. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no idea how he's this expensive. His rushing attempts, he had one game where he had rushing attempts over 10. Every other game has been under 10 rushing attempts. He's not being targeted a ton. I'm not sold. That you still got McKinnon in the backfield there. I think this is a really high price for Edwards-Helaire, considering. On the other hand, I love Jeff Wilson Jr. He's the unquestioned back right now in San Francisco. He's been looking good. He's got a juicy matchup against Atlanta. Be all over Jeff Wilson this week. James Robinson, man, ATN starting to come on, take some of that load off him. As you can see, he only rushed 10 times last week, whereas ATN, what the heck? That much cheaper, huh? Also 10 carries. That's an interesting thing right there, because I would rather ATN at 5,000 than James Robinson at 6,100. So that's how I feel about that. Connor, as we know, is out. Ramondre Stevenson, great matchup against Cleveland. They are going to be leaning on him with Damian Harris out. Love him this week. I'm going to throw him on this lineup. Even though, again, if I was using my same logic, its odds are he's not going to have another big week, but I think he does. I think he could, and I think he arguably will. Najee against Tampa Bay, it's a really rough matchup. So unless he catches a lot of passes, I'm fading that. Singletary has some sneaky appeal in this matchup. I feel like he is Buffalo's best pass catching back, and I do think that if this turns into a super shootout, they may actually be leaning on Singletary more than some people might think. If the Kansas City defense chooses to isolate Diggs and Gabriel Davis, it'll have to be other guys to step up like Singletary, maybe Dawson Knox. Breece Hall, again, opportunity has been there lately. He has been getting a lot of opportunity. I do think this is going to be a pass-heavy game script from the Jets in Green Bay. He's not been a super... Well, he did actually get a ton of targets on these two. Those are from Flacco. The Jets' offense for me is in flux as we're still seeing what Zach Wilson's about. But yeah, for 5,800, I don't hate Breece Hall at this price point at all. Kareem Hunt, sneaky play this week. I like him in some ways more than Nick Chubb, just because I feel like Belichick's a very creative defensive coach. So I'm not racing to rush him on a ton of lineups, but sure, Kareem Hunt's a sneaky play. Raheem the Dream Mostert. He is questionable after limited practices yesterday and today. So he was actually, I was pretty big on him the last 2 weeks. He's starting to get a little higher price. This is not a great matchup for him. If he was super healthy, the volume will be there. So maybe you could still play him, but he is questionable, so we just don't know. I already talked about A.J. Dillon. It's a sneaky play as well. Not really sure how Samaje Perine or Naheem Hines are higher than J.K. Dobbins or Kenneth Walker. That is very interesting to me. What is this? Cam Akers is out for the week. Wow, that's new news. Damn, I gotta adjust some fantasy lineup because of that. Okay, so that's obviously gonna Darrell Henderson's value just freaking. As you can see me process that information, this dude is like a stud this week now. I believe. I think Darrell Henderson is probably one of the best values on the whole slate. With that adjustment, Kenneth Walker could have a good game. He's going to be Seattle's guy this week. Again, very cheap. Get a workhorse back in a matchup for super cheap. I will always be about that. I won't play anyone below that. Maybe ATN if you want to get sneaky, or Carter. They could have some sneaky appeal. Chase Edmonds actually could have some very sneaky appeal if Mostert is out. So I wouldn't be afraid to play like one Edmonds lineup on if you're playing a bunch of lineups. Don't be scared to throw an Edmonds lineup in there. Um, and yeah. Oh, and obviously Eno Benjamin. He's going to be the lead back for the Cardinals against the Seahawks. He could actually have a huge day, and he's priced at 4,600. Wow, that's wild. Um, does Eno Benjamin catch passes? I'm supposed to know this doing this kind of stuff. He does. You know what, Ramondre Stevenson, you're out. I'm gonna go cheap on the running backs on this lineup. Um, and yeah. So on to receivers. Cooper Cup questionable. What the? Are they pulling the Patriots and everyone's just gonna be questionable? Okay, he's supposed to play 9,700. I just can't justify it, man. I just can't justify it. Even Justin Jefferson 8,900. Yeah, these guys are gonna have good days, but if when you pay that much of your salary to get them, it's just it's a lot, man. But if they break the slate, you need them. So, quite frankly, any of these top three guys could break the slate this week. Maybe top four guys could break the slate this week. And they are priced accordingly. So that's what I could say about those people. They are all priced accordingly, and they are all potential slate breakers. None of them have super bust potential. The highest scoring potential for me is probably Diggs, simply because that is the highest scoring game, it looks like. So, yeah. I'm not playing Miami's receivers, so Tyreek and Waddle are both off the table for me until they get Tua back. This could be a big Debo game. This feels like it could be a Debo game. It's gonna be Debo. It could be, man. Well, what can I say? Um, Coming off a bad game, yeah, this definitely feels like it could be a Debo game. Yeah. I don't like that he's only 100 less than Chase. I do think this is gonna be a super low scoring game. They may not need Debo Samuel that much. This might be just more of a Jeff Wilson grind him out kind of game. Marquise Brown, same situation. I do think they're going to have to throw a crap load. But I'm playing Eno Benjamin on this lineup, so obviously I'm thinking that it's possible that that they just, I just think they're going to throw it a bunch. Kind of makes me want to take Eno out and go back with my initial pick, but whatever. We do a bunch of lineups, so I like all these guys. Obviously, I like Marquise Brown is what I'm saying. Evans, I like Evans. I just like Godwin's price better. I think when both these guys are fully healthy, which they are, I think it's easy to forget because Godwin's been hurt and not playing full health. Just what he's capable of in this offense, I think he is probably the most overdue player in the entire league right now for me in terms of should have a big game this week. So I'm definitely going to be probably all over Chris Godwin. Pittman could have a great week. I'm high on a lot of these receivers. Metcalf could have a great week. I think Gabe Davis, for me, okay, look, there's bound to be some regression here. I think he could have another pretty good week. But I think it'll be closer to a 15-point week than a 20-something or sort of some sort of game-breaking, slate-breaking week. Waddle, not messing with. Higgins, man, last thing I read he was questionable. Yeah, he is. He's back at practice, but we don't know how that's going to go. Lazard, until he starts getting higher than 8 targets a game, this price tag is pretty wild for me. I do think this is a sneaky Amari Cooper type day. I think Belichick's going to look to shut down the run, so I think Cooper has a lot of playability there. Thielen, this for me, whatever reason, this actually does feel like an Adam Thielen kind of game. But I'm not super confident on that. Christian Kirk, again, could be a great game. Indy's pass defense has been pretty good this year, but I think Christian Kirk's cheap enough at 5,800 where it's totally cool to take a stab at that if you want. Deontay Johnson, same thing. In a game Pittsburgh looks to be losing, they might just give him a crap load of targets again, and at 5,700 he becomes kind of a steal. Same with Lockett. Lockett's actually had a really good rapport with Geno Smith this year. My only worry about Lockett, 2 touchdowns in the last game. Probably not going to repeat that performance again this week. 5,600 as a compared to DK Metcalf 6,800, and Lockett is still getting, a decent target share, 11, 11, 8, 6 to Metcalf's 6, 12, 10, 8. So it's pretty close. This is a game I do think they're going to have to throw a bunch. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lockett run it back with another big week. Olave, don't know how he's doing with the concussion protocol. If he plays, could have a good game. That's all I could say. He's been getting a lot of volume this year. Not crazy about Ayuk. So I read somewhere somebody was big on Drake London. I don't really see it, but I do like the price point at 5,400 for a number 1 receiver. Never gonna trip on that. Jacoby Myers was really having a pretty good year with Mac Jones, and then had a really good game with other rando. So it looks like he's actually gonna play, and he's gotten a buttload of targets the games he's played. So for this price tag, I think there are way crazier plays than a Jacoby Myers. But the problem is, we're dealing again with Monsieur Zappy. And I'm not sure how I feel about Monsieur Zappy. Where's he at? There he is. Though it looks like he did throw a crap load to I don't know. It was just big. I don't know. Tough to say. This could be a steal. Jacoby Myers could be like one of the steals of the week price wise, but I don't know. I think that's a low scoring game. Juju, give me freaking Marquez Valdez-Scantling over Juju. Just even though Juju's been getting better, 8 targets a game on a pretty. This could be Juju's week now that I think about it. Somebody's gonna have to step up for KC to get them in these games. We just don't know if it's gonna be who's it gonna be. Scantling's cheaper again, also getting roughly 8 targets a game. I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a big week this week either. So one of those guys is going to have to step up for KC. So this definitely could be a Juju or Marquez Valdez-Scantling kind of week. Boyd, DJ Moore, not crazy about any of these guys. If you're going to throw a dart at a Jets receiver, I'm still of the belief it should be Elijah Moore. I don't know why I believe that, but I do. He had the most rapport with Zach Wilson last year. He plays the highest percentage of the snaps, so that's the way I'm going to go with that. I'm not crazy about anybody down here. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, again, I think is a steal at 4,500. This is like a big steal at 4,500. And Rondell Moore, check that out. If I wasn't going with Mr. Benjamin, I definitely could go Rondell Moore. He's got a lot of upside, more than people realize. He got a lot of targets this week. I kind of called that one last week. Came out with 8 targets, went 7 for 8. This is a guy that Kyler Murray is used to and likes to lean on. Didn't get you know what? I'm gonna switch my lineup as we talk. Even though I like Mr. Benjamin's, I'm gonna just go with my gut, and we're gonna do it that way. We're gonna go back. Okay. So tight ends, Kelsey, man, he's priced 7,800. He had 4 touchdowns last week. He was Al Bundy last week. He is not going to do that again this week. Andrews, again, man, I can't pay this much for tight ends. I can't do it. I'm just not gonna do it. But I do understand why they're priced that way, because they can break slates. So for me, I actually do think could be a Kittle coming out party week. He's just had such a bad run so far this year that I'm gonna take a flyer on Kittle this week on some lineups. I do think he could easily have a pretty big week, but then price tag wise, I do like Njoku a lot more. He has seen a very healthy target share. This is a game that I do think the Patriots slow down New England. I mean, New England slows down the Browns' running game, so I do think they're going to have to pass somewhere, and I think Njoku could be a huge beneficiary this week. I would not be surprised at all if that's the case. Other tight ends I like. I think Ertz could have a great week. Again, Arizona should have to throw the ball a bunch, and that should be a high-scoring game. I'm not really taking a chance on it. I'm taking one of the higher-priced tight ends this week. Everyone else has just been so inconsistent and bad that I'm going to be playing someone between Kelsey and... I mean, I guess you could make an argument that, no, I mean, maybe, but no. Ugh, it's so tough. Tight ends is rough this year. Yeah, I'm probably taking one of the top 5 tight ends on here. Njoku is actually the cheapest one I'll probably take. So for me, this is, man, the Rams are like such a slam dunk best defense to play this week. It's like, it pains me that it's so obvious that they are just, head and shoulders the best defense to play this week. I think you can make an argument for, maybe even Cleveland. The Browns got to be up here, yeah. Packers also a good play, but for 4,000, if you're gonna play the Packers, man, just play the Rams. As far as cheap defenses that I think could have an okay day, I mean, look, bro, the Panthers, the Rams will look crappy. I'm not playing them, but they're the cheapest defense of the week, and I could actually see them being better to play than some of these teams right above them. I think the Falcons have sneaky appeal at home, even though I don't think that's going to work out for them. The cheapest defense I'm going to play, maybe New Orleans against Cincy at home. But for that, I'd rather pay the extra 100 and take New England against Cleveland. But there's not a lot of. Then you got Cincy on the road in New Orleans could be okay against New Orleans' inept defense. The Vikings are a good play at 3,400 against Miami's mystery defense this week. But I'm just going to say the Rams just feast on Carolina this week. So we have 8,000 per player, which means we can take whoever we want. Who do we think just has the biggest day? For me, I'm taking Josh Allen. And then I would actually like to take Diggs with him. So I'm going to have to find 600. For me, I already know the easiest place to do that with this lineup is going to be the defense. And as you can see, I can actually get the Browns, who I'm okay with. Because I know New England's not going to have like a high-flying attack this week. But I am playing Ramondre Stevenson, which definitely capture upside in a big event. I'll go one less. I'll go the Vikings. And so that would be our, sort of lineup for this one. So, this week, a lot of close things, a lot of crazy games. Just follow the volume, guys. Follow the volume this week. That's the most important thing. I actually really like this lineup we just put in. I think this is a good one. And there are some, really my advice for this week is primarily look to take advantage or try to make some intelligent decisions based around cheap running backs. Cheap running backs this week are going to be super important. I can't even explain how big a value this is. Henderson Jr. at 5,100 with Akers out is so big. Kenneth Walker at 5,400. It's another workhorse back at 5,400. There's another one, wasn't there? Eno, 4,600 for a workhorse back. They get on that. Those three and some combination of those three are going to be on so many of my lineups this week. So good luck. Go break the slate. Go make some money. And if you do, come back. Tell me you made some money. And that way I can feel good about myself for helping you out. And we can get monetized so I can start making some more money so that we can make y'all some more money. Much love. Hope to see you guys soon. Take it easy.